every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. In a major story. Federal government says handover date to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari is still May 29th. Also in this program, envoys from Morocco and Equatorial Guinea pledged to support the incoming administration of Muhammadu Buhari. Senate slams Billy King, urges the federal government to drag him to the ICC. And outside Nigeria, Turkey slams Egypt for the 20-year jail sentence on outset President Mohamed Morsi. The federal government has recanted on its earlier position that outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan would hand over on May 28th. Information Minister Patricia Akwashiki said after the Federal Executive Council meeting that May 29 remains the handover date. The minister, who had exactly a week ago said the president would hand over to the incoming president on May 28th, said an inaugural dinner would be held on that day. Akwashiki gave the impression that she was misquoted.
The president in council discussed the issue of transition, and there was a little problem of the May 28th being, peddled as handover date. And we want to clarify that 28th of May is not the date for handover. Handover and inauguration will take place on the 29th of May, which is also our Democracy Day. So please, let's get it right. We have started the transition. It's ongoing. We are handing over our departmental and ministry briefs to the office of the SGF, who would now prepare the handover notes. When you have a transition committee, we have ours, and the incoming government has its own transition committee. They sit together and look at all these issues. The paperwork is what we are talking of, up to the 28th. Please, let's get it straight, that the president is still the president till the 29th of May, when Buhari takes his oath of office and resumes as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Petroleum Minister Dozani Alison Madueke has dismissed claims that she had been soliciting the support of some prominent Nigerians for soft landing from the incoming government. She also said she has no plans to seek asylum in any foreign country, contrary to suggestions in some quarters that Petroleum Minister, who spoke with State House correspondents on the sidelines of the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, blamed marketers for the lingering fuel shortage in some parts of the country.
Let me remind you that over the last 4 years, I have been severally and unfortunately accused and libeled in so many malicious, vindictive ways. And I have severally explained and pushed back robustly on these accusations, and have even gone to court on many of them, yet they keep being regurgitated. And I do think that it is very unfortunate, particularly when we are moving into a transition period and looking forward, and an incoming government is coming to take over where we have ended. For everything that has a beginning, there is an end. I am not running anywhere. Nigeria is my country, as well as anybody else's country. I love my country, and I do think I have done the best for my country. And I would also like to posit, please, this malicious, malevolent, vindictive libel coming out of places like Oshun Defender and other faceless, cowardly online entities needs to stop. We have done a lot for this industry. We cannot please everybody. Yes, we have stepped on toes, but we did that with the best interest of Nigeria at heart. And we have opened up the oil and gas sector to all Nigerians, and hundreds of thousands of Nigerians are benefiting from that in the downstream, in the upstream, and in the midstream. I will not be running anywhere.
A federal high court in Abuja struck out 2 of the 3 pending suits challenging the eligibility of President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to participate in the March 28th presidential election. The presiding judge, Justice Adini Ademola, struck out the matter on Wednesday after the plaintiffs indicated their intention to withdraw the suits. Counsel to one of the plaintiffs, Mike Ozekome, informed the judge that his client had decided to withdraw the suit to enable the incoming government focus on the task of governing the country.
Under the Electoral Act, the submission of certificates ended on the 20th of December 2014. After that, no further document could be put in by any party. Then you go to the Electoral Act, it's under Section 31. So even if they found 50 of that, that would not have changed anything, because this case had already been filed as a pre-election matter before that day. Even if that was going to be exhibited, it would be of no moment at all, because the period within which it ought to have been submitted, 20th December 2014, had elapsed.
As you said, the matter has not gone to trial. If it went to trial, of course, we have evidence to show that the general has certificate. So when you now said that, you know, suddenly the thing materialized as it was reported in the papers, yeah, that's the kind of thing you see that will happen. Even people who need the truth before the election were, for one reason or the other, you see, prepared to hide this fact for the whatever reasons you see they might have.
But whatever the situation, we thank them for allowing wise counsel to prevail. And I hope that others in similar shoes will follow suit and join the moving train to effect the necessary change as people have been clamoring for.
The ambassadors of Morocco and Equatorial Guinea have assured Nigeria's incoming government of support and improved relations. The envoy also maintains that the country has proved itself as Africa's leading democracy by conducting a peaceful election. They said this after a closed-door meeting with President-elect Muhammadu Buhari at the Defense House in Abuja. The ambassadors maintained that Nigeria has always had good bilateral relationship with its neighbors and pledged their readiness to continue same with the incoming administration. They spoke with journalists after separate meetings with President-elect Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja.
I think there's something that we all should learn. We know that Nigeria is a very complex and big country, but after all, after everything that happened, we have seen that Nigeria has shown the maturity that the way they handled the election. We have to appreciate everyone, all Nigerian.
Morocco is too ready to open a new page with Nigeria, and we had a spirit. The new relation is between good with Nigeria and Morocco, inshallah. It's a new, is old time. It's back now. Now I am see to the future.
The protracted political crisis rocking Ekiti State is no way abating as the Ekiti Council of Elders cry out to the warring factions for peace at an elaborate meeting in Ado-Ekiti. The elder statesmen decry the stubborn posture of the PDP, Ekiti State government and the 19 APC lawmakers as they have all rebuffed the peace entreaties. Rashid has more in this report from Ado-Ekiti.
The House of Assembly crisis and impeachment move by the APC lawmakers is no doubt taking its toll on Ekiti residents who have called for the intervention of the Ekiti Council of Elders. The meeting of the council, which cuts across all political parties, is considered imperative as a renewed effort in appealing to the warring factions after several failed attempts by the elders.
It's rather unfortunate that the Ekiti man is no more his brother's keeper. The lure of office and position has greatly devalued our age-long tradition. Unfortunately, we had failed in all these previous endeavors due to the apparent refusal of our difficult sons and daughters who are operating in the political space.
With the PDP-led state government waving olive branch and the APC stating their terms for peace, the elders advised the parties to come to a truce.
There has to be a meeting of the mind midway. The rigidity of my position has to be abandoned. So is yours. We have to meet each other somewhere. But with one basic fundamental. There is a legal government in Ekiti State.
Events that will happen in the coming days will decide if these warring parties will hearken to the voice of elders or continue in their rebellious ways, even as the Council of Elders hope for another meeting. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
Marcos Ishaya, campaign coordinator of the Kaduna State's governor-elect Nasir El-Rufai, has been killed by gunmen. Ishaya was said to have been trailed by the gunmen to his house in the Atuku Kasa area of Jemamam, local government area of the state. He was a local campaign coordinator of the governor-elect at the Atuku ward. According to the spokesman for the All Progressives Congress, Kaduna Campaign Council Samuel Aruan, the coordinator was shot several times by the yet-to-be-identified gunman. A statement by Aruan said the APC in the state was notified of the death by the deceased's family. The statement said the killing of Ishaya had brought to 10 the number of members of the APC that had been killed in the state before, during and after the elections. The governor-elect, while condoling with the family, prayed for the soul of the deceased. Tragedy struck as an early morning fire gutted the Kwara State Ministry of Energy in Ilorin. The building, which happens to be the oldest building for government agencies, is said to have been earmarked for renovation by the state government. The inferno destroyed up to 17 offices before it was put out. Rashid has more.
In an on-the-spot assessment of the scene, the Commissioner for Energy, Musa Abdullahi, who lost his office to the fire incident, paints what occurred.
Our offices, 17 in numbers, was gutted by fire. But as God will have it, no life was lost during the fire incident. In addition, I want to say with all the emphasis at my command that most of the offices where vital documents were kept were not affected during the inferno. At the initial stage, the outbreak of the fire disaster could not be ascertained. But as time goes on, we discovered that it was as a result of power surge from one of the offices.
Representative of the governor and Kwara State Head of Service, Dabaka Muhammad, could not ascertain the level of damage, but the state government has invited experts to unravel the cause and level of damage done by the inferno.
I cannot cost it in terms of money, but I came with the engineers, both electrical, mechanical, building, civil, to follow me to do the inspection, and I've given them 24 hours to do their work and get back to me so that I can report to the governor. So I can't say exactly this is the cost, but it affected about 17 offices. including the Office of Commissioner, the Permanent Secretary, and the directors.
While the government may lament loss of offices and vital documents to the inferno, the burden lies on it to unravel the cause, even as negligence on their side cannot be totally wished away. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break and we'll be back with details of the call by the Senate for the federal government to drag Zulu King to the ICC over xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
Introducing Smart Connect, we get plenty awoof to allow you talk, text, and browse nyafu for tin in the money. Say you know say with just 200 naira recharge card, Airtel they summer me with 200% bonus to yarn more with any network.
Now you not call me your fiance.
Relax. In fact, I don't buy your own address every day. As correct vessel, anytime I recharge 200 naira and above, Smart Connect they suffer me with free internet to browse. If you want to make your family follow you enjoy, buy your 4-in-1 family pack for the price of one. Oh baby.
Akururu. This girl too, na family and friends.
No carry last though. Buy your Airtel SIM today.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thank you for being there with us. And if you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News, and here are our major stories. Federal government says handover date to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari is still May 29th. Envoy from Morocco and Equatorial Guinea pledged to support the incoming administration of Muhammadu Buhari. Senate slams Zulu King urges the federal government to drag him to the ICC. And for more on CoreTV News, you can visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. On YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV with a space, then news. The Nigerian Senate on Wednesday warned the South African authorities against acts capable of wrecking the long-standing relations between the two countries. This, it says, is as a result of the wave of xenophobic attack that affected Nigerians and other Africans living in the former apartheid enclave. The Senate also urged the federal government to consider taking Zulu King Goodwill Zwelithini before the International Criminal Court for instigating attack on foreign nationals.
From the streets to the parliament, Nigerians are still angry over the wave of attacks on foreigners in South Africa. The Senate has now lent its voice to a matter that has triggered anti-xenophobia protests across the country and in some parts of Africa. Senate leader Victor Ndomaegba moved the motion that was not only well received, but also drew harsh words from his colleagues.
An Igbo proverb says that it's only the father that is weak that will first agree that his child is the person causing problems. So at any time that we as Nigerians are attacked anywhere in the world, we expect the Nigerian government to be up and doing and making sure that Nigerian lives are protected.
I remember the role Murtala Muhammad played and what the policy of his government in emancipating South Africa. Yet these people have forgotten what we have done, and they are there killing and destroying the properties of Nigerians.
Some of the senators also want the Zulu king taken before the International Criminal Court to account for his action.
I'm praying that Nigeria, as a country affected, should initiate proceedings to cause that the Zulu king be arraigned before the International Criminal Court after confirming that South Africa is a signatory to the statute of the International Criminal Court.
At the end of the debate, the Senate President sent out a clear warning to the South African authorities.
What has happened in South Africa is totally unacceptable. It's unexpected, and my humble suggestion would be that South Africa should not stretch us beyond our elastic limit on this matter, because there is a limit beyond which the nation will not accept what is happening in South Africa. And if we go beyond that limit, then Nigeria will be forced to, act otherwise.
And since this is not the first time foreign nationals will be attacked in South Africa, the federal lawmakers say they will not assume that those behind the attacks will be dealt with. They maintain that the South African authorities would have to show that action was taken against the perpetrators of the vicious black-on-black attacks.
The Committee for the Defense of Human Rights in Lagos has threatened to incite Nigerian youths against South Africans and their various companies in Nigeria should they fail to call their people to order over the ongoing xenophobic attacks. Patience Ajiboye was at the South African Embassy in Lagos, where the rights group led a protest march. Her report.
With the seemingly unending cases of xenophobia by South Africans to other Africans in their country, the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights led the group in a protest march to the South African consulate. However, the entrance was totally shut and nobody could be seen within the premises. The group says the South African government, led by President Jacob Zuma, is to blame, since the government has been silent over the issue, as seen in the way policemen and other agents of government stand by and do nothing, while properties of Nigerians and other Africans are destroyed and looted away. They also stated that it shows their government's inability to call its citizens to order. National chairman of the group, Sonny Enenuwedia, says the Nigerian government also should be blamed for their failure to provide gainful employment and other forms of good governance. He expressed that it is one of the reasons many Nigerians seek greener pastures in other countries. He, however, says the group is set to do all except tilt towards violence, like the South Africans, to restore normalcy.
In an ideal situation, the government is supposed to halt this thing immediately, so that it will not be a thing that will go to other countries to bring about problems.
National member of the group, Bisi Fashade, says South Africans have decided to bite the hands that fed them when they were in problems, and in the process have rendered useless the good works of former South African President Nelson Mandela.
That the blacks, especially the black South Africans, in spite of all what the African countries, especially Nigeria, did to them.
Chris Ibe, who is the group's public relations officer, says the group will not hesitate to match with the over 70 million Nigerian youths scattered around the world to South Africa to make known their displeasures in ways not too palatable.
They felt they have their grounds, but we are telling them that it's not yet Uhuru, it's not yet over. They have investment in Nigeria. South Africans are based here. This is the time Nigerian youth will stand up for their right.
With no one to receive the petition at the embassy, they decided to paste their grievances in forms of letter-headed papers and placards on the gates and entrance to the consulate. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
South Africa has shut down its consulate in Lagos for one day in the aftermath of anti-xenophobia protests at its facilities in Nigeria. Its Consul General in Nigeria, Sam Munaisa, said in an email to the South African Business Forum and its nationals in Nigeria that the closure would remain in force until Thursday. It claimed that Nigerians were using the social media to blow the spate of xenophobia attacks out of proportion after the situation had been brought under control. The South African official also warned the forum's members and other citizens to stay alert and not move around unnecessarily in Nigeria. Acting Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase has promised that electoral offenders would be brought to justice to serve as deterrents to others. He also promised to ensure that the forthcoming elections in Imo, Taraba and Abia states are well policed by well-trained personnel. The new police chief made this pledge shortly after taking over from his predecessor Suleiman Abba in Abuja. Paya Samuel has more from the handover ceremony.
This is the last guard of honor Suleiman Abba will be inspecting as Inspector General after he was sent packing barely 24 hours ago. Dressed in civilian outfits, he barely managed a smile as he was ushered into the force headquarters for the formal handover ceremony. The former Inspector General thanked President Jonathan for giving him the opportunity to serve at the highest level of his career. He was also quick to ask for forgiveness from those he may have offended.
To my colleagues, I know you have seen it all. We started at a time that is very difficult in Nigerian history, a time when politics had picked up. We were getting ready for the elections, and our whole attention, I would say, was mainly on the elections, even though we kept on doing our best in managing our day-to-day activities.
Then it was time for him to hand over to Acting Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase.
National flag to the outgoing Inspector General of Police, who will in turn hand over a national flag, green, white, green, with coat of arms to the incoming 18th.
The new police helmsman was until a few hours ago in charge of intelligence and investigation. And now that he is Nigeria's #1 policeman, he wants officers and men to be ready for the tasks ahead. Arase also assured Nigerians of a leadership that will serve and protect human rights in the country.
We must resolve both individually and collectively to hold our duties sacred, perform our functions with pride, and exhibit the highest level of professional excellence in all our official engagements.
He reeled out policies and guidelines which will serve as his watchword as Inspector General.
In line with the principle of to whom much is given and much is expected, senior police officers should be prepared to be accountable for their actions while the exercise lasts.
The new police chief warned troublemakers and criminals in the country that there will be no hiding place for them. He enjoined them to have a rethink or face arrest and prosecution. Paya Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Some residents of Kaduna have hailed the sack of the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, as long overdue. They easily point at a number of things they say the former police chief did wrong in his 9-month-long stint as justification for his exit from the police force. Amina Nabi has more in this report presented from our studio.
It is only a few hours after the presidency announced the sack of the former Inspector General, but a cross-section of Kaduna residents are already hailing the move. They maintain that Abba had done so many things in the last 9 months to warrant his sack.
I've read through some of this news on the internet and what I've heard on the TV, but there was no particular reason. They just sacked him and it's immediate. But I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. You understand? It's the same person that brought him in that took him out.
I don't see anything bad about that because it has been happening. One IG or the other. I was thinking that his tenure has expired. I don't see anything as a sack. I think he just has to go for another person to come in.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I'm not aware about it. I'm not aware about it.
There are, however, others who see the former Inspector General's exit from a different perspective. One of them is Ali Dogo, a human rights activist.
Suddenly we are now positioned to see our current IG being removed in office. Well, the truth of the matter is, your principal, you must be loyal to your principal till the day he leaves office. If your loyalty is questionable, you are bound to leave office. So today, if Abba is removed, it's left best known to Jonathan. Maybe he sees his loyalty to him as President Commander-in-Chief that gives him the appointment is not absolute. Well, he is bound to be removed.
The consensus among these Kaduna residents is that since President Goodluck Jonathan appointed the former police helmsman, he has the constitutional right to also fire him if he is not satisfied with his performance. They say even though the president is on his way out, his decision while still in office has to be respected.
Factional leaders of the Nigeria Labour Congress have lashed out at Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole on his role during the last reconciliatory meeting. They described the former Labour leader as an inconsistent mediator who is not too keen on a peaceful resolution of the leadership crisis in the NLC. Members of the faction, led by Joe Ajero, said at a news conference in Abuja that they expected more from a man who rode on the back of organized labor to prominence. In the fight against the ravaging cancer, the Committee Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy, CECP, says it has decided to assist the Nigerian government by raising funds from private organizations to help combat the scourge. Patience Ajiboye was at the Nigerian Stock Exchange where the CECP briefed the press on their plans in the war against cancer.
Cancer, which is also known as malignant tumor, is a group of diseases involving abnormal cell growth with the potential to invade or spread to other parts of the body. It may be caused by genetic, lifestyle, and environmental factors. And although it has no cure at the moment, it can be prevented. Thus, the Committee for Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy, CECP, has deemed it fit to start up mobile check-in centers and clinics where people can be diagnosed and properly checked. Speaking at the briefing, Pat Utomi says cancer can be done away with by collective efforts from all.
We will be truly pleased to see the communication of this program come out from you with passion to the people so that buy-in will take place. Everybody realizes that it is their own best self-interest that is being advanced in a collective effort to deal with the scourge of cancer.
The Executive Director, Corporate Service, NSE, Bola Adeoko, says cancer is a respecter of nobody, and contrary to popular belief, it is common among non-elites, but is easily not realized as there is the absence of proper diagnosis. He also says over $600,000 will be needed to set up one mobile center.
For each of those mobile screening centers, they cost about $600,000 US, which if you translate it to the current exchange rate, you're looking at about 120 million naira. So you can tell that while there's been some market progress made, there's still a long way to go.
Talking about taking it to every part of the country, since the program will start up in Lagos, Utomi says it is a systematic process.
You need to take it to every part of the country, but we have to move in a systematic way and build and roll out structures across the country because it involves everyone everywhere.
Since healthcare is a major responsibility of government, the initiative will not only ensure a huge reduction in the spread of cancer, it will boost the economy of the country. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The National Council on Privatization says 46,744 out of the 47,913 bona fide staff of the defunct Power Holding Company of Nigeria have been paid the entitlement amounting to over 373 billion naira. This, it says, representing 98% of the total workforce. The NCP also directed that the Implementation Committee should hand over all information and documents concerning outstanding active staff and pensioners' verifications and payments to the Bureau of Public Enterprises. Briefing members of Council, The BPE Director General Benjamin Dickey told members at a meeting in the presidential villa that only 1,169 of the 47,913 workers of the defunct PHCN had not received their severance benefit. The DG says the figure includes workers that had exited before severance payment, those being processed for validation, and those yet to be identified by the PHCN as bona fide workers. We'll take another break now and return with business, sports, and other stories from outside Nigeria.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
And now to business. The Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dezani Alison Madueke, on Wednesday disclosed that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has started refunding $1.48 billion into the Federation account as recommended by an audit firm, PricewaterhouseCoopers. She made this known at the end of the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, with State House correspondents. However, the amount was not disclosed. Alison Madueke has insisted that the sum is not missing but transferred by the NNPC to NPDC, which is a subsidiary. On Wednesday, Brent settled up to 65%, cents at $62.73 a barrel. U.S. crude ended down 45 cents at $56.16 a barrel. U.S. crude initially rebounded from the session low after the government-run Energy Information Administration reported a drop of 18,000 barrels per day in output last week, the second straight week of lower production. The inventory build caused U.S. crude prices to see between a gain of 58 cents and loss of 88 cents. And now let's join Sabena Izoku for a report on today's activities on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabena Izogu. The equities market on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today as the Nigerian All-Shares Index appreciated to 0.06% to close at 34,529.46 basis points. The market capitalization increased to close at 11.76 trillion naira. In all, the total volume of 342.6 million units of shares valued at 3.49 billion naira were exchanged in 5,500 deals. On the gainer side, 7 are topped the chart, followed by Guinness, West African Production Company, Nestle, and International Brewers. And on the loser side, Nigerian Brewers topped the chart, followed by GlaxoSmithKline, Stanbic IBTC, United Africa Company of Nigeria, and Ikeja Hotel. Meanwhile, United Bank for Africa topped the traders chart, to follow by First City Monument Bank, Access Bank, Transcorp, and Fidelity Bank. Just before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today. I am Sabena Izoku.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Now to sports. The Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) told returnee Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi in clear terms yesterday to encourage young players to the Super Eagles after the coach formally signed a new contract. NFF acting president Sheyi Akinwumi said Keshi was being tasked with building a young, vibrant Eagles. Akiwumi said in Keshi's first stint, Keshi was slow in bringing exciting young talent in part of a long-term plan to develop world-class coaches, and so the board took its time to deliberate over the appointment. The league management company LMC has revealed that no further action would be taken against Sunshine Stars duo of Kunle Odunlami and Prince Agri for their indecent behavior in their match day 4 tie against Dolphins after the players tendered apologies. Agri and Odulami were on Monday banned for one league game each and fined 50,000 naira for indecent exposure and behavior capable of bringing the league to disrepute for stripping to their underwears to celebrate their team's second and winning goal against Dolphins. In a press release from the LMC and signed by its chief operating officer, Salisu Abubakar, the body warned the players about their future behavior but pardoned them for their inappropriate action in the league game. Both players explored the NPFL framework and regulations which allowed them to either submit to the decision of the LMC within 48 hours or elect to be dealt with by a special LMC commission, and they chose the former and vowed to be of good behavior in the future. Napoli coach Rafael Benitez has quashed speculation that he is to return to the Premier League to coach Manchester City. The former Liverpool and Chelsea manager has yet to sign a contract extension with Napoli, with his current deal ending this summer. It has been rumored Benitez could replace Manuel Pellegrini at the helm of City at the end of the campaign. However, Benitez said to the Italian press, in his words, "I have not had contact with City, unlike what I've read in England." Benitez joined Napoli in the summer of 2013 and led the Naples outfit to the Coppa Italia title and third place in Serie A in his first season in charge. Promoter Bom Arum is still unable to explain why there are no tickets on general sale for the super fight between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao in Las Vegas on 2nd of May. The MGM Grand owed 16,500, but only about 1,000 tickets are expected to be made available to the wider public. Contracts with the MGM Grand remain unsigned, while tickets are also not on sale for other venues across Las Vegas. Meanwhile, it was announced on Tuesday that Kenny Bayless, who has refereed many contests involving Mayweather and Pacquiao, will be the third man in the ring on fight night. Mercedes Formula One boss Toto Wolff says the aggression Nico Rosberg showed in the Bahrain Grand Prix will be the launchpad for a resurgence despite the disappointing end to his race. Under pressure following a string of defeats by teammate and title rival Lewis Hamilton, Rosberg put in an aggressive performance at Sakir. The German lost third place to Kimi Raikkonen at the start, but snatched the position back before passing the other Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel for second. Rosberg was twice repassed by Vettel, who used the undercut during the pit stops, but reclaimed second each time with a pass on track. Wolff said Rosberg is still very much in the title hunt, but pinpointed qualifying as an area to improve. And now to other stories outside Nigeria. Turkey has deplored the sentencing of ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi and others to 20 years in jail by an Egyptian court on violence-related charges. The Turkish Foreign Ministry issued its statement on Wednesday, a day after Morsi was jailed for inciting the murder of opposition protesters 3 years ago outside the Ittihadiyya presidential palace, the first conviction against the Islamist president since its ousted by the army in May 2013. The ministry says in a statement, arbitrary trials disregarding international standards carried out since the military coup against a certain segment of the Egyptian people increased Precious concerning the objectivity of the verdict against former President Morsi and aggravate concerns about the future of democracy in Egypt. The ministry says Turkey's sincere calls towards addressing the Egyptian people's legitimate demands for genuine democracy and the rule of law were still valid. The Home Office has been ordered to arrange for a deported migrant family to be returned to Britain from Nigeria in a landmark ruling that threatens to undermine the government's deport first appeal later policy. Theresa May's department will face contempt of court proceedings unless the woman and her 5-year-old son are located and transported back to the UK at the Home Office expense by Thursday. It is believed to be the first time that an immigration judge has demanded that the government retrieve asylum seekers previously deported from the UK. Asylum campaigners and children's charities have welcomed the ruling, which could have major implications for the way in which scores of children and their parents are deported from the UK every year. The ruling criticized the Home Office for its flawed decision to put the child, referred to as RA, and his 45-year-old mother, BF, on a plane to Nigeria at the end of January, despite evidence of the woman's poor mental health and the risk that both she and her son would end up destitute on the streets and at risk of prostitution, child labor, or trafficking. The woman claims to have been in the UK illegally since 1991 and applied for asylum in 2010, stating that she feared destitution and discrimination as a single mother in Nigeria with no immediate family. And that's it on the news for tonight. Before we go, a recap of our major stories. Federal government has said handover date to President-elect Muhammadu Buhari remains May 29th. Envoy from Morocco and Equatorial Guinea pledged to support the incoming administration of Muhammadu Buhari. Finally, Senate slammed Zulu King and urged the federal government to drag him to the ICC. With that, it's a wrap on CoreTV Primetime News for tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebulomo Adekunle, wishing you a wonderful night rest.